Jack was casually looking around when he noticed something strange. A girl nearby had bruises on her hands. At the same time, he saw a black van parked on the side of the road. Something was definitely wrong. Realizing the danger, Jack walked toward the van. Inside, kidnappers were threatening a child, unaware that their plan was about to fail. Without much effort, Jack took them down. He handed a magazine to the girl and told her to call the police. Then, with a cool exit, he walked away. Later, Jack went to an ATM, but as he looked at the receipt, his expression changed. It was a secret message from an old military friend. Jack was a former Navy Marines officer. He once led a special investigation team. One of his teammates, Franz, had been murdered. Even though Jack had retired, his bond with his team remained strong. He quickly traveled to New York to meet another teammate, Negri. Negri explained the situation. Franz had disappeared a week ago, and his body was later found in the mountains. He had been tortured before being thrown from a helicopter. Before his death, Franz had asked Negri for help, but Negri had been too late to respond. Jack realized this was not a random crime. He and Negri decided to find the killers and take revenge. As they left the cafe, a scar-faced man made a call. Shortly after, he bribed Jack's hotel receptionist and got his room number. Jack and Negri returned to their hotel to find their room trashed. In the dim light, a shadowy figure stood still. It was O'Donnell, their former teammate. He had rushed over after Jack's message but wasn't responsible for the mess. Furious over Franz's murder, he wanted revenge. O'Donnell plugged Franz's USB into a laptop. A warning flashed. Enter the correct password within 2 minutes, or all data would be deleted. They had 3 tries. 2 attempts failed. Then O'Donnell realized something. Franz admired Jack. He entered Jack's last name, and the system unlocked. Inside were 2 strange files, a list of names, all starting with M, and 7 pages of numbers with no clear pattern. They needed help, so they sought their old teammate, Swan. At Swan's house, they found his dog dead. More teammates were missing. Someone was hunting down the entire 110th investigation team. Outside, Jack spotted a black car tailing them. He attacked the bald man inside, only to find out he was NYPD. Jack was now a wanted man. They needed a car but couldn't rent one. Jack approached a woman, Dixon, a former teammate, and now an undercover FBI agent. She got them a car and analyzed the files. The list and numbers had a hidden meaning. Meanwhile, a scar-faced man watched them. He called his boss. They're heading to Atlantic City. Jack and his team arrived at their next target's office, ransacked. Oro's lighter lay on the floor. Something terrible had happened. Their next lead? A woman in a framed photo. Sen and O'Donnell stood guard when Mina suddenly ran out. Recognizing her from the photo, they chased after her. Meanwhile, Jack and his teammate were cornered in an alley. Before Jack could explain, he was punched. However, he quickly overpowered his attackers. Just then, Dixon arrived with Mina. It was a misunderstanding. A week ago, a scar-faced man harassed Mina, and soon after, Sanchez vanished. Mina recalled Franz working with Sanchez and Oro on a case. Before disappearing, Sanchez mentioned numbers that sounded like gambling terms. Since he and Oro worked at a casino, they suspected a connection. Jack's team visited the casino's security director, who agreed to help and gave them a hotel stay. That night, Jack struggled to sleep, so he went to the casino and found Dixon winning every game. The manager gave him concert tickets to make him stop. Later, Jack and Dixon were followed. Jack realized the same hitman from New York was after them. They lured the attackers into a trap, fought them off, and disposed of the bodies in a cement pit. Searching the hitman's car, they found files on their team and a burner phone. Jack called the last number, but the person panicked and hung up. The only clue left was a parking pass from New Era Technology. The next morning, the casino director brought terrible news. Sanchez and Oro had been found dead, tortured like Franz. Furious, Jack and his team returned to New York, only to be stopped by the police. Surprisingly, the bald cop Jack had beaten wanted to help. He had found a memory card with a new lead, Azari Mahmoud. The case was bigger than they thought, possibly linked to terrorism. Meanwhile, Dixon and Negri visited New Era Technology. To their shock, the director quickly returned with new information. The scar-faced man wasn't an employee of New Era Technology, just a supplier who failed to land a contract. However, the director found his resume and gave Negri his address. Back at the hotel, Dixon analyzed Franz's numbers. They represented workdays over the past 7 months, but their meaning remained unclear. They decided to wait for Jack's return. Meanwhile, in the interrogation room, O'Donnell was flipping Jack off when the bald cop entered with a lead. Someone had just bought a ticket to New York under an alias from their list. Officers rushed to the airport, but the suspect sensed the trap and delayed his flight. His boss panicked, fearing exposure. Jack's team gathered and planned to check the scar-faced man's house. Instead of rushing in, Jack threw in an explosive. A burning man ran out, followed by assassins, whom Jack quickly took down. Upstairs, more enemies were eliminated. Before leaving, Jack caught an escaping man, an employee of New Era Technology. The team realized their enemy was hiding within the company. They geared up and raided the company's headquarters, stealing files, hard drives, and even a champagne bottle. Jack grabbed a group photo before barely escaping. When they examined it, their faces turned pale. Elsewhere, a woman lured a politician into a trap, leading to his arrest by Detective Oscar. That night, they investigated Howlight's files and found Swan, their former teammate, working for New Era. The pieces fit. Lansdowne gave assassination orders, Burns provided addresses, and Klinz supervised missions. Finally, an odd email from Swan referenced a song, Little Wings. At its mention, Jack's eyes lit up with realization.